YouTube is a very powerful way to both rank in the search results and to get multiple rankings in the search results. You put up your video, you've got a good transcript, you have a brand that people follow, and you can get lots of views, and the title of your video and sort of the content of your video solves the YouTube searcher's problem. You kind of win. I think we're going to see a lot more of the domination of YouTube's videos by a few brands that invest very heavily in YouTube.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Animaker Genius Talk, a talk show where we interview genius minds from the world of videos and transfer some of their amazing knowledge to you. Today, we have a celebrity guest in the house. I'm pleased to present to you speaker, entrepreneur, SEO guru, and best-selling author, Rand Fishkin. Welcome to the show, Rand. We are happy to have you here today.
It's great to be here.
All right, so at Animaker, we really believe that a brand is as great as its founder. You have managed to establish one of the very well-recognized international brands called Moz. The whole point of this interview is to show and interview the man behind the brand as an inspiration to all aspiring entrepreneurs out there. All right, let's get started. Let me tell you how this is going to work today. We have 3 amazing sections. The first one is what we call the genius journey. So share with us how a 21-year-old college dropout web designer transformed into this amazing, prolific SEO expert.
Yeah, I don't know about amazing, but so after I dropped out when I was doing web design in the early 2000s, my mom and I, we were working together at this company, and we had a lot of struggles. We were not able to successfully build a great consulting practice, and as a result went deeply into debt. And because of that, we couldn't pay a lot of our subcontractors, including our SEO subcontractors. And so we had these websites that we had built for local businesses, and we were trying to get them ranked well in Google and Yahoo and MSN search at the time and all these other search engines. And it was really, really tough. So I was learning the practice myself and trying to do that work myself. And born from those frustrations was the website, SEO Moz. And initially it was just a free resource and a blog where I shared my thoughts about SEO. And then that became something bigger, right? As I was writing and attracting an audience, more and more people came to us, and they started coming to us seeking SEO services. And we shifted our model from primarily web design, to primarily SEO consulting. And that is kind of what started us down the SEO road. And then of course we moved into software and took funding, and I became CEO and all those kinds of things. But yeah, that was the start of it.
That's an interesting story. But can you also tell me how your grandpa became your first SEO teacher?
Yeah, that's right. So my grandfather, Seymour, we call him Cy, he was a chemical engineer by background, and very skilled in mathematics, read a lot of patents and then applied them to his job. And so in the early days of SEO, when there wasn't a lot of information available about how search engines operated, he helped me to find a bunch of papers from information retrieval conferences, which was sort of the computer science behind search engines, and a lot of patent applications made by Google and Yahoo and Microsoft relating to search. And we would pore over these papers together, and he would explain to me what they meant and how they worked. And I would blog about it. Occasionally, even he would blog about it. I think he wrote 1 or 2 posts for the early SEO Moz blog. He came to a few conferences with me, including my first big conference, SES in New York back in 2005. Yeah, it was instrumental.
That's amazing. I know not a lot of us, even in the next generation, will be able to tell a grandpa's taught us SEO. All right.
For sure.
My first interaction with your brand happened to be with your amazing video series, Whiteboard Fridays. If I'm not wrong, you started it way back in around 2011, right?
I think it was even earlier than that, maybe 2008, 7 or 8.
Wow, that's a long time ago. How did you come up with this idea? And did you believe that it will become as big as it is today?
Well, I mean, we really didn't. One of my coworkers, I was explaining an SEO concept to him around redirects, and he said, "Hang on, let me grab our new camera," because we bought a camera to do some filming stuff for something for clients. And he grabbed the camera and videoed me, and we put it up on the blog just on a lark, and it did not do very well. In fact, it did much worse than most of our usual blog posts, but it was relatively easy to create, and I thought that I could get better at video, and I wanted to invest in it. So we practiced getting better and better at it over the next 50, 60 weeks. And I would say probably about 2 or 3 years in, Whiteboard Friday started performing really well. When we moved to our new offices, we built out a whiteboard studio. And the next office we built another whiteboard studio, and each one got successively better. The quality of the videos got better, the quality of my SEO information got better, and my ability to convey that improved. We got better markers, we got better whiteboards, we got better cameras and lighting and all those kinds of things. And so the quality of those videos upgraded a lot. And I think that we discovered that many, many folks in the SEO world and in the digital marketing world in general learn better through video. And certainly we found that video created more of a positive brand association than just reading a blog post, that it created better brand memory, right? You remembered Moz, you remembered me, you had this positive association with things if you watched Whiteboard Friday. And the series format worked really well too. We found that many, many consultants and agencies would sort of gather around their table, on Friday and watch this video all together and then discuss whatever the topic had been at lunch, and that tradition was something powerful.
So even when you started, you decided to give it 2 or 3 years of time. That's an inspiration that we want to pass on to all aspiring video creators.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work right away, right? It took time.
All right, Rand, let's move on to an interesting topic. SparkToro, a search engine for audience intelligence. A very intriguing pitch. Tell us how you came up with the spark behind SparkToro.
Yeah, this was primarily for me a process of spending a lot of time with especially entrepreneurs, but also consultants and marketers of all stripes who were trying to create demand for their products, their services, their brand. And we're finding that just ranking in Google wasn't enough. And so they were attempting to do a combination of classic PR and what's called influencer marketing and social media outreach and blog outreach. And all these practices together share this one problem, which is discovering the sources that actually influence your audience is a pain in the butt. It's really hard to do. And it's very, very time consuming. So I would watch consultants spend literally weeks. I didn't spend all the time with them, but I watched them spend tons of time pouring through Google and then LinkedIn and then Twitter and then YouTube and then some podcast search engines and Facebook and then subreddits and then going to forums and then spending specific time on other websites looking through top lists of X and Y and Z, and then interviewing and surveying their audience to get lists of things that influence them, and trying to assemble all of these things and then trying to estimate their relative traffic and influence and reach, and then attempting to reach out to all these folks. And just that research process was oftentimes multiple weeks of work from a relatively expensive consultant or a PR agency or a content outreach firm. It was insane. And there were no tools, right? Folks were using maybe sometimes a combination of something like a Follower Wonk or a BuzzSumo or a PR database like Cision, Meltwater, Gorkana, these kinds of things. But there was no tool where they could just type in, all right, I want to find chefs in Canada, and I want you to tell me what they pay attention to what podcasts they listen to and what YouTube channels they subscribe to and what blogs they read, what major media publications they follow, what events they go to. No, there's nothing like that, right? It was all one-off. And so my co-founder Casey and I did some early experimentation around this and said, I think with the social and web data that's available today that we can crawl and extract, we can actually build a database of, tens, hundreds of millions of profiles that match all these criteria. And then we can look at, hey, we have 1,700 chefs in Canada in our database, and collectively, here's the things that they follow the most, the things that they share the most, the things that they pay attention to the most, and then surface those to folks. So that's the idea behind SparkToro, and we're still 6 to 9 months away from having even an alpha product. So I think lots of uncertainty, definitely lots of challenge, lots of technical problems to cross, but we hope that we can build a tool set that helps people solve this problem.
That's an exciting problem to solve. And the fact that you have picked up this problem is definitely an inspiration for all of us. So one important question is, our audience consists of a lot of video marketers. So tell us why video marketers should be excited about SparkToro.
Well, I think that no matter what kind of marketing you are doing, if you're producing content, a key part of what you do is trying to amplify that content. So you produce a new video, yeah, you can share it with your audience, but ideally you want 5, 10, 50 other people to share it with their audience. You want media publications to pick you up and write about you. You want other YouTube channels to reference you. You want people to tweet about you. You want people to post that video to LinkedIn and to their Facebook page. You're hoping that maybe some folks will grab still images and put them on Instagram. You're hoping that someone will go to a subreddit and post about your video series, right? All of these things that can potentially drive traffic and links, which can help you with rankings and help you with views in YouTube and help you get more and more people and help surface you for queries, all those kinds of things. But because that process is so challenging today, I think few video creators and marketers even bother to invest in it. They sort of go, well, we have our usual network and we'll just try and grow that, and hopefully some fans will find it and they'll amplify it, and we just cross our fingers. As opposed to, what we all know we should be doing, which is, all right, this video is perfect for lighting designers, right? This is an ideal video. They would be really interested. Let me go see what sources lighting designers pay attention to. Oh, look, there's these 3 blogs that lighting designers, hey, maybe we could pitch a guest contribution to one of these blogs. Maybe we could see if one of the writers of these blogs wants to come on to our video show and be a guest, guest on the video itself. And hey, on this 3rd one, maybe we should do some advertising there. Let's see if we can sponsor their newsletter for a week and get our video into their email newsletter. Great, awesome. That's what we know we should be doing to get more reach, but we don't because it's so hard to even find those places. And I think if we had that list available to us, a lot of us would go, yeah, I'll go spend the 5 minutes to send an email.
Wow, that's a tool all of us as video marketers definitely need. Can't wait for it to come out, Rand.
You and me both.
All right, so we've come to the end of section 1. The next section is what we call picking the genius brain. I'm going to throw some questions at you, and I'm going to find maximum value from your answers and pass it on to my audience. All right,
okay.
Let's get started. Question number 1. When I first applied for my SEO role in Animaker, the first question that they asked me is, who are the influencers that you follow to learn SEO? Had I not mentioned people like you, Rand Fishkin, the chances of me getting into this company is very slim. So if I ask you the same question, who are the big influencers that you look up to and respect? Who are the people who you would list?
Yeah, gosh. I mean, I have a long list of folks, but I think a lot of the people that I really like and respect are in the entrepreneurial world, right? They're starting and building companies and doing them in unique ways. Yeah, I've been really influenced by the Buffer, the folks from Buffer, especially Joel Gascoigne. He's building a really interesting, exciting company, but in a very unique way, right? Buffer has sort of taken this unique approach. Chris Savage from Istia is very similar in that respect. Another person that I really like and admire and have been following just in the last few months, because I found his website is Indie Hackers. I don't know if you know Cortland Allen from indiehackers.com, but that website is just amazing if you're an early stage entrepreneur and getting started. And he's built something really special. It got acquired by Stripe.
Okay.
Last year or 2 years ago. The creator of Ruby on Rails, David Hanselmeyer, I think is his name. He's DHH on Twitter. Heinemeier Hansen. David Heinemeier Hansen, DHH on Twitter. He's a very, I would say, iconoclastic sort of entrepreneur, and I really admire that and have been following him quite a bit. There's folks in my personal network, here in Seattle and in the Northwest that really inspire me. Folks like Kieran Snyder from Textio, whose journey has been really inspiring and exciting. Mada Zapeta, she's the founder of Switchboard in Portland, but also started the Zebras Not Unicorns movement, which if you go to SparkToro's About page, you can see that we're trying to be a zebra startup, not a unicorn startup. So yeah, that's a sort of a short list, but there's dozens of others.
Wow, that's an interesting list. I'm excited to go check all of them out right away. So my next question to you, Rand, is how do you think is video SEO and ranking on YouTube different from the classic Google search?
Sure. Yeah, super different, right? YouTube's algorithm is very, very different to Google, whereas Google is very much a, solve the searcher's problem with your content, and they do a lot of content analysis. They look at a lot of links and anchor text, and those are all very, very strong signals. Crawlability and indexability, a lot of technical things are really important for SEO. In YouTube, you don't really have to worry so much about the technical aspects, right? Like you put up your video, you've got a good transcript, you have a brand that people follow, and you can get lots of views, and the title of your video and sort of the content of your video solves the YouTube searcher's problem. You kind of win, right? So with YouTube, unfortunately, a lot of it is a chicken and egg problem, which is how do I become the most viewed video, right? How do I get the most authentic, organic views? How do I get the most references from other places for people to watch my video and subscribe to my channels and sort of follow my brand on YouTube? And that's where you get a lot of that biasing on YouTube. So there's kind of three ways you want to win on YouTube, right? One is in search, where essentially you come up in searches that people actually type into YouTube. The second one is on related videos, right? So that's just huge. A ton of people watch a lot of videos through the related videos that come up for the videos that they do watch. And then the third one is the suggestions and sort of the autoplay stuff. So when someone loads up their home screen on YouTube, what videos is YouTube suggesting them on mobile, on desktop, on their television, whatever device they're watching on? And that is based on, sort of the people who watched videos like the ones you've watched also liked these videos, right? And that can make a big difference. I think that there's some contention in the YouTube SEO field about, how much do video ratings matter? How much do people watching a video all the way through versus part way through versus just a section of the video? How much does that matter? There's definitely questions about whether lots of unique accounts watching your videos matters more than a few accounts watching many of your videos. And I think, those are not yet perfectly answered questions. There are a few good resources out there. I think Justin Briggs, whose stuff I don't always agree with, but I think he did a really good job with his YouTube video SEO series. And so I would urge folks to check that out for sure.
Definitely. That's a lot of insight. Another interesting follow-up question is, nowadays I get to see a lot of videos getting listed on classic Google search as well.
Yeah.
So is this a rising trend? And how can businesses leverage this to boost their business value?
Yeah, I think, years ago, Arvind, you probably remember that Google would show videos from many different services, right? So you could see stuff from Vimeo and stuff from Wistia. And if you self-hosted a video, you'd get that little video snippet next to your result. And that could really boost rankings for some folks. Now Google basically said, no, only YouTube gets it. It's just for us. And that's pretty frustrating. And I think it is actually Google illegally using their monopoly power, but oh well, no one sued them for it yet. That being said, YouTube is a very powerful way to both rank in the search results and to get multiple rankings in the search results. So if you're a business and you want to rank, number 1 with your own website, and then maybe number 3 or number 4 with your YouTube results with that video snippet, that is absolutely doable. And it's a powerful, powerful tool. We did that at Moz quite a bit, right? Where we rank number 1 with the Whiteboard Friday. Then a few months later, we would upload that same video to YouTube, and essentially the YouTube clip would be the number 3 or 4 or 5 result. So we'd essentially have, we'd be dominating multiple spots on page 1 for certain queries. And that was, a powerful driver. Of course, the frustrating part is a visitor to YouTube is not worth nearly as much as a visitor to your own website, because you can't cookie them, you can't retarget them, you can't collect their email address directly there unless you set up special programs, and pay YouTube and that kind of thing. You don't control the user experience, so you can't use, if you've got overlays or you've got marketing messages you want to convey in there. Very, very difficult, comparatively very difficult to do on YouTube versus your own site. But that being said, YouTube's still a great place to build brand awareness. It's a great place to get people addicted to your content, great place to build, to earn sort of people knowing, liking, trusting you, which can mean that you get to, do a lot more marketing successfully in the future.
Wow. The point about Google monopoly is definitely something to note for. All right.
I wish we could fight that.
Yeah. But the next interesting question that I have for you is, I'm really excited about what you're going to say for this question. 3 major video SEO predictions for 2020 from Rand Fishkin.
Ooh, video SEO predictions. So I think sometime in the next few years, Google through YouTube will offer something around augmented reality or virtual reality. And I think that'll be relatively nascent. The technology is still relatively nascent. The consumption is still pretty nascent, but I think there will be opportunities there. And some early adopters in some spaces, probably especially in games, will do really well. I think that's where we're going to see it, the adoption first. Second prediction, I think that Google will, in the near-ish future, significantly change how video recommendations work. Right now, they feel early. They feel like Google has not put their best effort forward and that the sophistication level is low. I think we're going to see a big shakeup, both in the user experience of recommended videos and also in the quality of what those recommendations are. And I think what we'll find is that Google improves it to such a degree that there's a lot more video views coming through recommended videos and coming next and featured on your homepage and that kind of thing. My third prediction, I think this one is a little darker than the other two, but I think we're going to see a lot more of the domination of YouTube's videos by a few brands that invest very heavily in YouTube. And it will be much harder in 2 years, in 3 years to compete for YouTube searches, for recommended videos. It'll be much harder for people like you and I to go on YouTube and earn a big audience. And we're going to see a lot more of the audience go toward Disney making tons of YouTube clips, and Fox making tons of clips, and a few big brands really dominating that space, because it's just so much opportunity right now, and it feels to me like eventually the big brands are going to catch on. They're going to start investing, and we're going to see that same dominance that we're seeing in Google's organic search results, where 19 or 20 companies are in like 70% of the top 10 results. We'll probably see the same thing in YouTube.
So if you're an aspiring YouTuber, now is the best time to start, right?
I mean, the only better time to start than today is 5 years ago.
Very well said. All right, Rand, let's move on to section 3. This is what we call Inside the Genius Mind. So this is going to be a rapid fire section where I want you to answer all of these questions quickly without much of thought. All right?
Okay.
So question number 1, do you believe YouTube as a video platform can ever be replaced? If so, by whom and when?
Yes, not in the next 5 years, but maybe in the next 10 years. And I think it can be replaced by someone we've never heard of.
Wow, really excited to see who that is. All right.
Me
so
too.
The next question is, do you think voice search will create an existential threat to classic text search anytime soon?
No, I don't. I think we have 10 years, maybe 20 years more of text search for sure. And even if a lot of people are voice searching, that doesn't matter too much versus typing. I think that the big thing is voice answers. So voice answers is the existential threat to me, not voice search. And I think voice answers will replace maybe 10 to 30% of search activity. But for the rest, we need a screen with results. And I don't see voice replacing all that.
All right. So next one is a personal question. If you're 21 again, would you still choose to drop out of college or would you choose to complete it now?
I might still drop out, but I would try to go work for another company first rather than starting my own right away. I think a lot of the mistakes I made were because I had no idea how to run a company. And I always give the advice to folks like, hey, before you ever start your own startup, go work at 1 or 2 others, at least, maybe 3 or 4, because you will quickly learn a ton about what you like and don't like.
That's a piece of advice to all aspiring entrepreneurs out there. All right. So the next question is, which according to you is a brand that's absolutely crushing it with videos?
Ooh, crushing it with video. Gosh, there are a few big brands that have done exceptionally well here in the United States. I think, obviously the folks from Old Spice have done an incredible job with that. I think in the B2B space, I've been super impressed with Wistia. They've obviously driven a ton of stuff there. Trying to think, there's another couple of B2B brands, but I can't recall them off the top of my head, so I'll send them to you.
All right. So Wistia is definitely a very interesting brand. And the next is about your latest book, Rand. So I got a chance to read your book, Lost in Founder. Have it right here. An amazing read. And I read it cover to cover all in one night. All right. So for the sake of the audience who haven't read the book yet, tell us 3 reasons why people should go pick up the book right away.
Well, I think it depends on who you are. If you are at an early stage company or you're thinking about building a team inside your company, then I think Lost in Founder can really help you do 3 things. 1, avoid a lot of the pitfalls and mistakes that we made with Moz. 2, I think it can help open your mind to alternatives that you've never considered around how to build a team and hire and recruit and build values, how to do your marketing, how to build a great flywheel for your business, how to invest in product with focus, all those kinds of things. And then 3rd, I think for many, many folks that I've talked to, the biggest contribution that Lost in Founder has had for them is it's helped them not to feel alone. It's helped them to feel like, hey, there are other people like me out there who, appear successful, but have all of these challenges behind the scenes. And I think that can be powerful. I think feeling not alone can really, really help you mentally and emotionally.
Wow. The last point is definitely something unexpected, but once now that you've mentioned it, it definitely gives you that feel. So guys, if you still haven't read the book, I recommend you go pick it up right away. So Rand, on that last point, I want to ask you a personal question. Steve Jobs, on a very famous quote, when he walked out of Apple and started Next, quoted, "When he walked out, the heaviness of being successful was replaced with the lightness of starting out again." How is your journey transitioning from one of the world famous brands called Moz into your new venture called SparkToro?
Yeah, I think actually, I don't always love Steve Jobs stuff, but that quote resonates with me tremendously. There is a lightness to building something new and to starting out early again. It's fun, it's exciting, anything could happen. And I feel much more sort of in control of my future destiny, which is really exciting too.
All right, that's an excitement I believe all startup founders will definitely feel. All right,
I mean,
Rand,
you gotta have that to get the drive, right? Because there's a lot to push through in order to get a company.
Definitely. The hustle is a very important part of the startup journey. All right, Rand, I have one last question for you. What is one message that you would like for the audience of this interview to take with them after the interview?
Yeah, I think that if you are a video creator or a creator of any kind, one of the best tips that I can give you is give yourself time and make sure that your company or your team or your boss or your whoever's hiring you is giving you time, because no one's first stab at content is great. No one's 20th stab at content is great. It takes a lot of time to learn what resonates with your audience, what you do well, what you can do uniquely, how you can find a place in this crowded market. And I would urge folks to give themselves 6 months, 12 months to find their groove and not beat yourself up and not have your team hold you to expectations that content is going to be a play, that returns ROI in 2 months or 3 months. That's ludicrous. The people who invest in content started out pretty bad at it. They eventually got good. And then because they got good, they had this advantage over all these other folks who weren't willing to give it time to work.
Wow, that's an important content marketing tip that all aspiring content marketers and entrepreneurs should definitely take. On that note, we've come to the end of the show. Rand, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as we enjoyed it.
It was awesome, Arvind. Thank you so much for having me, and take care, everyone at Animaker.
Guys, if you really enjoyed the show, go ahead and like the video. And if you want to stay updated on all the latest episodes of Animaker Genius Talk, go ahead and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon. If you want to see your favorite influencers featured on this show, go ahead and comment below. We'll make sure to get them for the future episodes. Until then, take care and stay safe. This is Arvind from Team Animaker signing off.